Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has directed U.S. Cyber Command to suspend offensive cyber operations against Russia, a move analysts interpret as an effort to encourage Russian President Vladimir Putin to engage in negotiations over Ukraine. This decision aligns with President Donald Trump's recent stance, both publicly and privately, that Russia no longer poses a significant cyber threat to U.S. national security and critical infrastructure. This perspective starkly contrasts with years of warnings from intelligence officials and has raised concerns among cybersecurity experts who fear the U.S. may be leaving itself vulnerable to Russian cyber attacks during a period of heightened global tensions. Reports indicate that Hegseth's order to halt offensive cyber operations against Russia is part of a broader strategic initiative to draw Putin into negotiations over Ukraine and to reset U.S.-Russia relations. Critics argue that this policy shift appears to be driven by the administration's warming relations with Putin, as Trump seeks to realign U.S. foreign policy in a manner that increasingly mirrors Moscow's interests. A source familiar with the shift expressed concern, stating, "Russia and China are our biggest adversaries. With all the cuts being made to different agencies, a lot of cybersecurity personnel have been fired. Our systems are not going to be protected, and our adversaries know this." The decision marks a significant change in the U.S. cyber posture against an adversary known for its aggressive digital warfare, election interference, and relentless hacking campaigns. While some insiders argue that the move is a necessary step in diplomacy, critics warn that it represents a dangerous retreat that could embolden Moscow to escalate its cyber attacks on the U.S. and its allies. James Lewis, a veteran cyber expert, remarked, "It's incomprehensible to give a speech about threats in cyberspace and not mention Russia. And it's delusional to think this will turn Russia and the FSB, the Russian security agency, into our friends. They hate the U.S. and are still mad about losing the Cold War. Pretending otherwise won't change this." Hegseth's directive, which is part of a broader reassessment of all U.S. military operations against Russia, has yet to be publicly explained. However, the timing of the order, which was given before President Trump's contentious Oval Office meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, appears to be part of an effort to draw Russia into talks on the war. VanityFair.com. The suspension of offensive cyber operations has sparked debate among policymakers and cybersecurity experts. Senate Democratic Minority Leader Chuck Schumer criticized the decision, stating that it gives Putin a free pass to continue launching cyber operations against the U.S. Additionally, reports suggest that the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, may be shifting its focus away from Russian cyber threats, a move that has raised concerns among cybersecurity professionals. Despite the suspension of offensive operations, Russian cyber capabilities continue to pose a threat to critical infrastructure in the U.S. and globally. The 2024 threat assessment by the U.S. Director of National Intelligence emphasized that Russia remains a significant cyber threat. Furthermore, the U.S. government's Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, has attributed various cyber espionage activities to Russian state-sponsored actors, including the SolarWinds compromise. The decision to halt offensive cyber operations against Russia reflects a broader shift in U.S. foreign policy under the Trump administration, aiming to reset relations with Moscow. However, this approach has been met with criticism from those who argue that it undermines national security and emboldens adversaries. As global tensions continue to escalate, the implications of this policy shift remain a subject of intense debate among policymakers and security experts.